Yo,
You have a crazy setup, bro.
you like the pudgies in the back?
I like the penguins, bro. They're looking fucking nice.
Hey, can we get a fit check right now?
Fit check, little Japanese kimono. I know you're about that. I know you're about that drip life. I was watching you showcase your. I think what are you wearing? Chrome hearts.
It's a
recently
Supreme.
started. Oh, what you wearing jeans though?
Yeah, I'm wearing jeans. You want a little check? I got the little graphic boys.
I saw it start to get on trend. It's really interesting. What surprised me when I started watching some of your streams, bro, is you guys have been spot on with a lot of this meme coin culture early on, bro. Early on. I'm talking like Q1, bro. I'm talking Q1, bro. It's been pretty interesting watching the master class. None of us are perfect, but you guys have been pretty spot on trend.
Hey, that's a W intro glaze right there, Mr. Luke. I love that. How you been, dude?
You know who shilled me Mog actually? It was Luca when it was like 80 mil market cap. I had no idea about it. And then I started tapping into it and I was like, okay, these guys understand how the internet works and how to make a culture coin, which was something I hadn't been seen before. Like you'd seen memes, but once you kind of bridge into the whole dynamic of using GIFs, using emojis and all that type of stuff, it gets crazy.
Hey, you talked about a lot of this shit on the pod with Elio Trades. You remember that?
Dude.
Was it like 8 months ago? That's where I met you in LA.
You know what happened to that pod? I fucked it up. I did a double recording on the audio. So my goals now next time is to swing by when I go to LA and reshoot with Elio. But they've been crushing as well with Superverse, and they've been crushing with the entire gaming ecosystem. I don't think the whole gaming is played out just as much as we wanted to see it yet. Same thing with like AI or maybe like what's another proper one that hasn't popped off yet? AI agents is good, but it's still new. What do you think?
It's super fresh. We'll talk about the AI. I'm obsessed with it. Maybe the DPIN stuff. I don't know. Another DSci, even decentralized science. We've like talked about a little bit on this stream, but AI is the biggest. It's gonna be the biggest narrative in the history of crypto, in my opinion. It's bigger than DeFi. It's bigger than everything.
I think so too, and I think so I think we're in an interesting cycle. This is my third cycle in crypto. I got started in crypto in 2016. Right? Like very light. First introduction to Bitcoin, sub $600. 2017 was my first bull run, kind of round tripped it with everybody. And this is where you saw, I would say maybe the first run of like what you would call like utility shit coins. You'd have like the Denta coin that went to like $1 billion market cap, and Denta coin was a coin that was it was supposed to be a chain only for dentists. Like that's the type of gimmick that was rolling around. But nonetheless, there was money to be made. Then the 2020 bull run was interesting. And I think my entire premise for meme coins, this narrative was predicated on last bull run's narrative, which was NFTs. And that's, I think, when I started following your content was last bull run. Did you have an ape last time?
Yeah, the mutant ape. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I remember, bro. You see, I've been tuned in. I've been tapped in. So I remember you had the old PFP and you were running threads until like the bear market, and then you changed. Did you change your username?
No, I still thread guy. I just don't write him anymore. Yeah.
Bro, I'm a fan of the show. You see, I've been tapped in. I've been tuned into the thread life. But what was interesting about last bull run that this bull run has made really amazing is NFT culture, which was the idea of like community and the idea of like not necessarily having a utility in order to be able to kind of have a product in the marketplace, wasn't really captured because you had limited units, you had high floor prices, so somebody couldn't really commit 30 cents to join Mog or join Pengu or any of these things. They can't commit $2. So the entry price was really difficult, and the visibility of it was hard. So now you're going to see a lot of these top tier projects start cooking up tokens that are going to allow new liquidity, new injection of users. And I think the whole like Pudgy Penguins play, which was, to me, it was a blessing just to see how it rolled out, because it's such a positive for the entire space that Pudgy does well. Because what it does is it sets a precedent for every other project that has been able to survive the bear market on how to inject new users and new liquidity and new people into their ecosystem. So it's been something really cool to observe. And I think meme coins, which is my big bet this cycle, is predicated on the mania from last cycle, except this time with the visibility, liquidity, and people understanding tokens more than they understanding NFT. I think the adoption curve is going to be pretty crazy.
Hey, you had a pretty good interview. I was just listening to it with Miles. It was a couple months ago. Talked about a lot of this stuff.
Mm.
Good job on that, first of all. Second of all, on the Pudgy Penguin thing. I mean, we got him back here. I'm curious, like, you've been talking about this meme coin thing for a while as well. You also have, by the way, dude, you're fucking big. You got a massive. I've had some pretty big people on this stream, and you make a tweet, it does fucking numbers. So shout out to that. How impactful do you think a launch like Pengu, with how mainstream and viral Pudgy Penguins are, is going to have on the larger meme coin adoption for the rest of the like non-crypto or crypto curious world?
I think Pengu's in an interesting situation as opposed to any other meme coin, and I'll tell you why. First is it has real valuable IP, not intrinsic IP, right? Real valuable IP that is commercialized and IP that is owned. I had, I'm down. I just got a liquidation alert, like a futures auto deposit notification from KuCoin. I'm down like $800,000 on Chill Guy. So, but the situation is the following, right? Like they haven't figured out the whole IP thing. Like they don't have the green light in that front. So that's a big no-no. And my assumption is Chill Guy is going to get listed on Binance. That's my assumption, but that's my gamble. That's the bet. The reason I think Pengu stands a little bit different, it's not really just a meme coin. It's kind of like a community coin. It's its own kind of meta while still allowing new users to come in not knowing anything about Pudgy Penguins. I think it's going to be really good for the space. Obviously, I don't like talking about the assumption of other potential projects that could launch coins and things like this, but I would say you're going to see a lot of other NFT projects that have survived the bear market that are going to see, hey, like this is a potential for a winning model. We saw Hyperliquid as well. You've probably seen that on your timeline as well. Bro. So these guys are crazy, right? These guys are just buying up their own token and saying, hey, we have the best product. If you don't like it, just fuck off. And even though they have like a closed blockchain, they've created a very interesting niche in the market, and they did a really good token launch as well. So what I've seen kind of take place, and this comes from me, and I'll be honest, I'm not the best guy in crypto. Far from it, right? Like there's people that have been in the space so much longer and understand the depths of the space. I see it from a retail perspective, somebody that has some sort of understanding of the markets, but I understand how retail perceives this space. And the way that retail perceives this space is they're looking for something that's easy to understand, something that's memeable, and something that they can talk about. So once you start talking about utility and things of this nature, you can lose a lot of normies. And I think the path of least resistance is projects that have high utility, high use case, but simultaneously, the utility is found in the community, not necessarily in, we're going to build a new blockchain and things of this nature. I think it's going to be a new lifeblood for projects, bro.
So I like you as a guest because you're a crypto guy. But when I think of like Luke Belmar, I think of like mainstream viral, right? Like you're huge on YouTube, you're huge on TikTok. There's probably, I would say more than, I don't know, no data, but more than half of the people that follow you is not from crypto. Why did a Chill Guy moment not happen until Chill Guy? Like why aren't all of these meme coins like super viral on TikTok? Why aren't they doing numbers on YouTube? Like why did it take this long for something to go as mainstream viral as not the meme of Chill Guy, but like the coin, the token was viral on TikTok? Why did that just now happen in 2024?
I mean, so to answer your question regarding my audience, I agree with you. I would say about 35% of my audience has like a direct correlation with crypto, and I would say 65%, they're what you would classify as like entrepreneurial retail. They're the people that are on the internet. They're the Wi-Fi money. They're the people running e-commerce businesses. They're the people that are building businesses online, but they're aware of crypto, but not necessarily crypto native. So that's usually kind of like my bridge. My bridge is trying to be able to get entrepreneurs to either build in crypto or invest in crypto or buy crypto, or at least be aware of it. So like whenever I talk about like opportunities on the internet, I mentioned two main opportunities. One is crypto and the second one is e-commerce. Now, that's the answer to your question. I agree fully with you. When I consider Chill Guy, the thing that makes it interesting is you need to follow action steps of the individual, right? So the action steps of the individuals, they're scrolling, they see one of these people talk about this coin, they swipe up, they leave TikTok, and then they probably either open up the App Store to download a wallet, or they open up the wallet. In this case, they're probably downloading Phantom or something like this, running a Face ID or running a moonshot and instantly buying the coin. So the path of least resistance now isn't the fact that there's distribution, because I remember last bull run, right? There was a lot of stuff that was taking place with Binance Smart Chain, you remember, but it was so hard to bridge over, right? So many people were lost in the process. Remember like the whole Safe Moon craze and like all these people bridging over, it was viral. But today we have the path of least resistance, like mobile tools, mobile applications have allowed users to fulfill instant gratification of these like pieces of content really quickly. So I think that's one of the factors. The factors where we see social media bridging into crypto now more than ever is because of mobile. And this is what I've been telling a lot of founders, is do not neglect your mobile build out, because if you're trying to hit retail at a normie scale, you need to be able to tap into where they are. And they are not on desktop. Like the average person is not on desktop. So it's like, if they're on mobile, what's the path of least resistance? That's why I think TikTok, Instagram Shorts, IG Reels, IG Stories are going to be really good paths of marketing for a lot of crypto projects.
What do you tell the 65% roughly of your audience that is not crypto why they should get in it? Because I would imagine there's some diehards in here, but then there's also people that are maybe finding this for the first time that don't know shit about shit. Like, what do you tell the 65%?
So the 65% of people that are aware of crypto but aren't necessarily native to the space, the conversation is very simple. It starts with, what is money? And once you go down the rabbit trail of understanding what your money is, who makes it, who prints it, the fraud that's behind the fiat system, then you begin to ask more questions. If you're not going to be, once you recognize that fiat is a scam, the question is, well, what's the answer? And naturally, you just have to evolve into a better form of money. So before we talk about investing, we talk about wealth preservation. So you have to preserve the money that you make, because these guys aren't out here trying to, make a 10x. They're okay with making 30% on their money every couple of years, 20%. They're running a business. They don't want to worry. So the first thing I tell people is you need to be able to maintain the integrity of the purchasing power of your dollar. So if I pay you right now 10 grand for consulting, if you were to just put that in JP Morgan Chase and you were to withdraw it 10 years from now, the purchasing power and value of that $10,000 would not be the same. So in order for you to preserve the value of your time in the future, you need to be able to store this energy, which is Newton's third law. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed. So you need to transform the energy, right, into something that is immutable, like Bitcoin. So if you transmute your energy, your work, into fiat, it gets deflated because they're stealing from it. If you transform your energy and your attention into Bitcoin, it appreciates because it's an asset that can't be printed more of. So what you're doing is you are going against the second law of thermodynamics, which is when energy gets expended, you create entropy. Entropy is chaos, right? And that's what fiat causes. But in order to break that kind of paradigm, you save in Bitcoin. So that's what I tell people, right? Like the basic thing is save in Bitcoin. It's your best saving mechanism. And that's the kind of the pill. From there, you kind of expand into the markets and to the opportunities. But like I said, these are bear market conversations, right? At this point in the conversation, I'm okay shilling certain things at certain parts in the bull run, depending on metas. Are they right all the time? No, far from it. But there's certain metas that last 3 months, there's certain metas that last 6 months, and there's certain trends that last a couple years. You have trends, kind of like these NFT runs a year or two, then it dies off, then runs again. Then you have narratives. Narratives would be like your Web3 or your bigger things. On your narratives, you have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have Solana, you have these kind of big ideas that are taking place. What was the narrative behind Ethereum in 2017? That it was going to be what? The Bitcoin killer. So that narrative is what drove the price up. What's the narrative that drove the price up last bull run from $1,500 to 4,300, 4,200 was NFTs. People had to buy ETH in order to buy NFTs. So my assumption was that the driver of Ethereum was the demand for NFTs, and that was the conversion. Today, you have Solana and you have a lot of things that are taking place. They're taking a lot of liquidity. So Solana is a little bit shaky. Ethereum's a little bit shaky, but they have the ETF. So my conversation with the normies at this point is I don't tell them to get into the markets. In fact, probably in the next 6 months, I'm fully rotated, fully 6 to 8 months, fully rotated out of crypto. I've made
Whoa.
really, yeah, of course, absolutely.
Wait.
My goal is to leave 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8. I've already cashed out a decent percent. What happens if Bitcoin goes to 160? Right? Like, okay, there's a good idea for return. Altcoins can rally 300, 400, 500, 600%. But over the last week, altcoins are down 30%, 40%. This means you, me, and the average person that's a holder, their net worth is down exponentially over the last week. And that means that now your coins have to double in order for you to just break even. At certain thresholds, making more money isn't going to change your lifestyle, right? So it's like if you have $10 million, making 15 might change slightly, but if you drop from 10 to 5, your lifestyle changes drastically. So it's about a wealth preservation game. The crypto markets will be here tomorrow. Uh, I've made terrible plays in crypto over the last couple of years, and I've made great ones. The goal is to always be able to continue having more chips so you can continue playing. Never go all in on a single pick. Never go all in on a single meta or a single narrative. Understand that 99% of these things do go to zero, and that the main utility that we're running off of is the narrative and the momentum and the trend and the attention that's behind that narrative. So, a big one. I think it hasn't caught on. I think it's going to catch on when Grand Theft Auto catches on. And people trolled me. People
Whoa.
trolled me. People trolled me on the internet about it. But even if Grand Theft Auto doesn't introduce it, my friend, I do believe that it'll bring the hype, which is the idea of in-game currencies and the idea of building your real life in like the three-dimensional world, but working in the digital world. And you work in the digital world and you kind of live in the real world, and that's kind of how it works. Grand Theft Auto is going to revolutionize this. I think, a lot of these big influencers are right when it comes to gaming. They might not be right on the timing, but they are right on the trend. And I think, for example, the Grand Theft Autos of the world are going to be the catalyst for people to start paying attention. So I think that's one of the big metas. I'm not super heavily invested into them. I did like a seed round or angel round for Dark Times and a
They're
couple
kind
of
of
these
tough
other
to
ones.
invest in, dude. It's like there's not that much.
So hard, bro. It's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough. So it's once again, it's like there's certain narratives that you just go off of trend momentums. You see what people are talking about, you see what's hot, and then you kind of play that game. So from a utility standpoint, it's hard. From hey, can I make money on this? Then there's a chance.
Hey, can I ask you an off-topic question real quick?
Anything better.
Don't lie.
I won't.
Are those color contacts or no?
No.
Them joints are crispy, bro. All right,
Thank you, bro.
thank you. On a serious note, you were talking about last cycle a little bit. What was the biggest crypto mistake that you made in the 2021 bull run?
Okay, I made 3 major mistakes. We'll talk about a rotation mistake. We'll talk about an investing mistake, and we'll talk about a building mistake. Let's talk about a rotation mistake. It hasn't happened to me yet this bull run, but it happened to me last bull run, where I rotated out of my pancake swap, like my full bag early. So I did a spaces with who was it? CZ, not Spaces,
Whoa.
Clubhouse. Remember Clubhouse?
Yeah, of course.
So I did a Clubhouse with CZ back in
Really?
the day. And yeah. And this was when Uniswap had just launched. It was me, Luca, and then another buddy of ours, Sai, who runs Involio.
Okay.
It's a trading app. We were at the Ritz in Atlanta, and we're like, bro, we were like talking about Uniswap. This is like 2019, like DeFi summer 2019. And then there was a Twitter beef between CZ and the founder of Uniswap. Like, this is how I make my investments. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm like, okay, CZ is now talking about the dexes and like, hey, he's gonna come after like Uniswap's lunch. It was very visible in the interaction. So I started figuring out what are the dexes that are built on BNB. There was this old man, I think it was like Crypto Dad or something like that. It was like the only Binance Smart Chain video on YouTube at the time. And PancakeSwap was at a $25 million market cap. I think the APY for like staking at the time was like 14,000%. It was some ridiculous shit. So at 25 mil market cap, I buy 1% of the circulating supply of PancakeSwap. Now, I'm gonna call him out because he's gonna laugh. FaZe Rain hits me up. He calls me. He calls me in 2020, is it? And he's like, "Yo, should I buy SafeMoon?" Like that, he calls me. He's like, "Yo, should I buy SafeMoon?" This is when the shit's kind of going off, and that's when SafeMoon migrates over to the Binance Smart Chain. So they migrate over the contract, and then I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna sell." I sell really, really fast at like the 20 to 26 to $30 mark as soon as SafeMoon hops over, and then I chill in stable coins. That proceeds to go up to I think 42, $46. It doubles from there. But my stack was really big. And my high conviction was deterred by a quick rotation. And you've probably seen it, and it happened to me, I think, as well with Dogecoin, is your bags like sit there and linger and linger and linger for months. And the moment you sell, they pop off. And it fucked me. So like I did that with PancakeSwap. I ended up making $5-6 million on it. I should have rotated more, should have been a bigger bag, but it was enough. Trading mistake. Leverage. The first dump from 60,000 down to 45,000, if you look at the double top of Bitcoin last bull run, I remember I hit up I think it was Bybit. It was three exchanges. Bybit had just rolled out, Binance, and I think it was KuCoin. And I opened up all the apps and I was like checking the balance, and it showed and it displayed 0 on all the balances of all the apps. I'm like, why isn't it working? It wasn't working. And then I hit up support, every single one. It's like, hey, where's my balance? And they're like, hey, check like your history, check your liquidation. And I liquidated $2.5 million overnight on that dump. It was horrible. And it was liquidated, not drawdown. On the building side, what I would say is understanding that you need to build based off of people's desires. And in this space, it's a very interesting dichotomy because what drives attention isn't necessarily what drives price. And what drives attention isn't necessarily what the project is about. Maybe when you talk about, for example, when you talk about XRP is a great example. XRP is this type of coin that, has all these levels of utility, but people talk about it in what sense? They talk about it in the sense of competing with world reserve currency. And at this point, they're like a cult following. So XRP is one of these examples whereby the community, like building around the community as opposed to building around the utility of the product, is what matters. And I think like Pengu did a really good job building around the community. Hyperliquid did a really good job. BNB did a good job first building the community, the product, and then tokenizing it. I think with NFTs, the ability to tokenize and then build value is really difficult. And the reason it's difficult is for the simple reason of, imagine you're a new shareholder, right? Imagine you're a new shareholder to a company goes public. Let's just say you and I start a company, clothing company, we go public, all right? Public stock, day one, right? The company hasn't generated any revenue, but we're just like pre-revenue, we're gonna sell our shares. What happens now as a founder is you have to do the following. You have to manage the community, you have to manage the company, you have to increase revenue, and you have to manage the floor price. Impossible, right? It's impossible to do all of these all at once. And I fell for that trap. And when you fall for this trap, what it does is it ends up causing your inability to build with kind of long-term mindset. And I think this obviously plays, when I was talking with one of the founders of a company that's listed on NASDAQ, he said, we live for the next quarter. Like we live for the next quarterly report. Nothing matters. There's no future except hitting your numbers so that the stock can pump. So when you look at NFTs, when you look at crypto, unless you have a real true community that uses the product and is really rallying behind what you're talking about, what you're doing, then what you're going to do is be chasing the survival of your floor price or the survival of your chart forever. So you have to swap the script. And I think over the last couple of years, the script has been kind of shifting from, instead of tokenizing first, tokenizing second, right? And building the product. And if you have the ability to build a product that has monetization attached to it, then you're going to see explosion. We saw it with Juke, right? Like they built a fucking sick ass product. They made the ability to use Solana so much better. They absolutely crushed it, and then they tokenized. So I think that that's where we're going to start seeing a lot of tokenization, but from real companies. And I think over the coming years, people are going to understand that the tokenization at the beginning is good, but it's not always the narrative or the trend that one should follow. Because if there's pre-sales, if there's VCs, if there's, like all these rounds before you, once it hits open market, and once it hits Binance, it's down only. So if you want to hit Binance or hit these exchanges and you want an up only trend, then you have to have a community that utilizes your product, that fucks with your mission, vision, brand, and values, and ultimately gives you the ability to focus on the company and the community and not necessarily the floor price or the chart, which will take care of itself. So building the community, building the product, and then tokenizing, as opposed to the opposite way around.
Yeah, by the way, it might get lost because you said a lot there, but I actually think it's based take, which is tokenizing second, like launching the coin, the NFT, the token, whatever it is, after product market fit and getting successful is actually, like, that's why I think base is going to be successful. And I had Jesse Pollock come on, and it's funny, he said like exactly this. And he basically was like, yeah, we could launch base token if we were to do it right now and incentivize builders to come on base and get growth on the chain right now. Or we could do it the hard way, get it out the fucking mud, and then once we're successful without it, we launch, base coin, and it's like sprinkles on fucking top. Like I think that's a really good take, and I think that's why part of the reason why Pudgy Penguins is going to be successful here.
Yeah, and what I like about Pudgy, which I think is interesting, is they've understood, and I observed this throughout the entire launch. I was like, I want to observe what they do with every other social media platform, and if they're going to apply the same social media strategy to every social platform, which is what every company does. So, enough, for example, let's say the BAYC launch, right? Whereby in the BAYC launch, what took place is they kind of spread the message cross-border. I kind of lost you there.
No, you're back. Yeah, I think somebody skipped, but you're back. I heard you on BAYC launch.
So BAYC launch of their token, it was first, it was at the end of the bull run, right? So they were at the tailwind of the bull run, so they caught the end of the bull run, unlike Pudgy, who caught the beginning. And two is, when Ape was introduced, it was introduced as an in-game currency, right? So it was introduced with all these promises attached to it. Pudgy has no promises attached to the coin except we want to onboard 1 million users. And what Pudgy is doing differently is, instead of looking at floor price and instead of looking at what the token is valued at or what the NFT is valued at, they're looking at onboarding users. So, like Luca hits me up, and the metric that he talks to me about is how many people are watching my videos. How many plays is this getting? How many impressions does it get? So when he tells me, hey, we're getting 200 million impressions in a month, okay, well, that means something, right? Like, there's enterprise value attached to 200 million impressions. And what does that mean for the greater culture? So I like NFTs. I think NFTs are going to be really cool. I want to see NFTs applied into like more serious stuff, as in like maybe voting, like government voting, like as we vote in an anonymous way, maybe some sort of digital identity that doesn't allow you to like dox yourself, but still lets you know, hey, if you're interacting with another person on the internet, is this person AI or not? And this is the transition we talked about, like cycles. What I think is going to be the next cycle in crypto, which is going to be AI dominated. It's just going to be bots trading against bots and algorithms trading against algorithms. People are going to be honeypotted into a Telegram group with 2,000 AI bots in there, and they're going to be the only real person, right? And it's like, that's what's going to happen. So how do you fight that? When I was talking to the TON team, they're working on and everybody's kind of scratching their head. How do we authenticate humans versus all these machines, especially in crypto? So I think NFTs or some sort of soulbound experience gives you the ability to like authenticate humans. So I'm looking for these use cases in NFTs. But I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm never going to invest in crypto in the near future, but my involvement, I would say, in the space, this bull run, I would say climaxes due to the fact that next bull run, there's going to be so many artificial intelligence participants, so many artificial intelligence accounts, so many artificial intelligence influencers. We're talking 4 or 5 years from now, things are going to be extremely different. I don't know what that means for the markets. Maybe you'd like to tap in. I don't know what that means for the stock ecosystem or the commodities game, but I don't know. I'd feel a little bit odd competing with algorithms and bots
Yeah.
on buys and sells. So I might just end up being a Bitcoin kind of guy over the near future as I kind of just continue building businesses on the internet.
Are you, Luke Belmar, worried about being replaced by AI?
So no, because of what my main business is. So like my main business is investing, and and where I get my investments is through my network. So Capital Club, which is my in real life physical experiences, physical events club, this people travel all over the world, get together. That's where I get my deal flow. So in order for AI to replace me, AI has to create physical experiences, has to create the ability to put people together, and has the ability to be able to negotiate on my behalf. So my move away from the digital into the physical is, like you said, it's a hedge against AI. So my goal right now is to figure out, what is AI going to commoditize? For example, AI is going to commoditize software, SaaS. I think SaaS is going to be harder and harder to launch and harder to monetize because it's getting cheaper and cheaper and more powerful. But what are the things that AI cannot commoditize? Well, it can't commoditize relationship. Like, it can't commoditize our relationship. It can't commoditize us playing a match of ping pong and wagering $50 on it and the experience, shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a premium to in-person relationships. There's going to be a premium to in-person experiences. There's going to be a premium attached to in-person relationships. So kind of I know it sounds counterintuitive to what I'm currently doing, but my pivot is into basically the real world, where I think there's going to be a premium in the near future as the internet becomes commoditized by AI.
It's a wholesome take. I like the take. I like to think that that's true, and I tend to believe you there. All right, going back to crypto, there was this tweet, Mr. Belmar, that was made. I wasn't gonna ask you about it. I
What
think
tweet?
This Zach XBT made a tweet, and he basically said, we briefly spoke about it. He basically said, I made a tweet first. I said, what should I ask Luke Belmar in 100 minutes on stream? He said, ask him why he was caught fabricating his life story, and ask him why he promoted all the biggest bundled GPU DPIN grifts. For context on my end, this was sort of dropped in here with zero context. There's no thread. There's no like receipts. There's no like article. Like I have nothing to go off of. So I kind of wanted to just throw it out there because chat wants me to ask, Twitter wants me to ask. So I don't know. As much as you want to say on the fabricating life story, go ahead.
So my story is as legit as they come. And for those that are new to me, I'll kind of share it with you. I come from Argentina. I came in the early 2010s with $200 in a suitcase. Thankfully, my uncle's a pilot, so I was able to get a flight for free. Started pressure washing basketball courts, cleaning toilets, everything and anything that I could do in order to make money. And the first interaction that I had with the internet, it wasn't, courses, it wasn't social media. It was somebody telling me that there's this thing called stocks. And I was waiting tables at the time. So I bought the book, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. I started getting into the basics. This was when Robinhood was just out. I remember buying my first stock. It was these biotech penny stocks, trying to make money on it. So that was my first interaction. I was waiting tables at the time. And I was waiting tables. You get tips in cash, deposit them into the ATM. They would reflect 2017, 2016, 2017 rolls around. The bull run is in full effect. And we realized, hey, we got to make more money. Me and my brothers were living in a 1-bedroom apartment with a tech guy. My younger brother sleeping in the kitchen. I sleep on the couch, and my brother sleeps in the office. Pay $200 a month for rent. And that's how I got started. So I had to learn everything. I had to learn Facebook ads, I had to learn Shopify, had to learn ClickFunnels, had to learn ads, had to learn social media marketing. And then I just took off. 2020 rolls around, and I have my lucky break in ecom, thanks to COVID. COVID in 2020 gave me what I would say is kind of like my glitch, like the glitch moment in the matrix. And what this glitch moment is the market tanks, everything goes to shit. But before that, everybody's already buying from home. So what do I decide to do? I learned e-commerce, thankfully. And I say, well, The craze right now is sanitation products. We saw it. It was a craze. But within a couple weeks, maybe a couple days, anybody that was in ecom at the time remembers all social media platforms, they started banning all sorts of utility that had to do with like sanitization products, like toiletries, things that people could price gouge, like a mask. They would sell it for $30 instead of $3. Amazon was like, you can't do that. Shopify was like, you can't do that. Facebook was like, you can't sell ads to this. Like, you guys are price gouging. So what I said, I was like, well, if I can't sell sanitation products to people, I'm going to sell sanitation products to pets, because people treat their pets the same way that they treat themselves, right? Or in fact, they treat them even better. So I started launching sanitation products for pets and household products. We ended up doing over $16 million in revenue, did extremely well. And in the COVID dump of 2020, I put my entire net worth, and I had some people talk shit about it, and I sent them screenshots of my Chase bank account statement from my Coinbase showing purchases, order bundles of $10,000 of ETH each under I think $150. Pico bottom, but that wasn't me. That was orders being filled, Kraken, Bitstamp, and Coinbase. So shout out to them. I was playing Call of Duty Modern. I was the one that Warzone had just launched out. It was at that time, it was that week that my buddy introduced me to cannabis. So I was blazed up. I'd never smoked before. And it was the first thing was actually a Puffco with some glass, like some wax. And this is the first time I'd ever hit it. So for that first week, while my orders were getting filled on Warzone and doing ecom, I was blazed out of my mind. So that's the honest reality. So that's my story, my situation, very straightforward. If anybody has any issues about me, you're free to DM me. I have no issue conversing with any of you. Now, when it comes to crypto, dude, the amount of times I've been wrong about crypto, I would say 40%. My goal isn't to be right 100% of the time. My goal is to be right more than I am wrong. And if you look at my track record, I am right more than I am wrong. Am I perfect? Far from it. Nor will I admit to not making mistakes or not failing, or sometimes not pushing things that aren't the best, 100%. But they're not necessarily deals. I've pushed plenty. I'll give you an example. Somebody asked me, what was the most money you've ever lost? There was this honeypot last bull run, 2 honeypots. One was called Pancake Bunny. And it was a clone from Pancake Swap, $Bunny. It was a horrible rug. I lost so much money on it, but I told all my people to get in on it. And that hurt me more, right? So am I perfect? Far from it. Have I invested in projects that have done poorly? Yes. But if you look at my track record, if you look at my calls in an unbiased manner from beginning to end, the truth is you'd be up. So absolutely. You need to do the following. When you look at things on social media, 1 is take it with a grain of salt. 2 is understand if this is on meta or on trend. If somebody shilled you, chill guy at 600 mil market cap, are they wrong? It's at 250 right now. Are they wrong? No, you're wrong because you're the one that bought it, right? So like, let's not be stupid. Let's be real. So if somebody wants to say, hey, why did I push a certain thing? Because I thought it was going to be the meta and it was going to be the trend. And if I was wrong, well, I was wrong. And if I'm in the markets, I'm okay being wrong. I'm not going to sit here and admit that I'm perfect. I'm far from it. Very far from perfect. But if you go on my Twitter, you'll be able to, and if you turn on notification, I don't tweet a whole lot. I tweet maybe once or twice a day. I'm not really on the platform. So I spend a little bit of time on here. You'll be able to see the plays that I'm really tapped into. So let's talk a little bit about these plays. So last year, I think it was 2 years ago, I said, I don't fuck with crypto. I rotated completely out of crypto. Mind you, Bitcoin and crypto is 2 different things.
Into what? Okay.
Crypto and Bitcoin is 2 different things.
Okay.
Crypto as in like a space, Bitcoin as an asset, right? Let's treat them differently. So I said, I'm out of crypto. Like this was right after FTX. I was like, this is bullshit. You know why? Because I heard, and I can't mention the funds, but the funds that were invested in FTX, and bro, I'm talking at the highest level, they knew that this motherfucker was pulling money, right? So they knew that that SBF was using company funds. They already knew this. So that's what pissed me off. And I was like, I don't fuck with crypto. So I rotated all my bags, all my money into stocks, rotated into a couple of them, made public calls. You can find them on Twitter. I rotated 10% of my net worth at the pico bottom of Meta. Remember when Meta got fudded because they transferred their name to Meta and it got fudded like hardcore? Go look at the calls. Meta mentioned at about $80 to $100. Today it's at about $500 to $600. We're talking Meta. We're not talking about a shitcoin. We're talking Meta, Facebook. You could have entered a generational play. We talk about Robinhood at the Pico bottom, $8 to $11. Today it's sitting at 36, 300% gain just in the stock market. What are our bets on these plays? Our bets are very simple. The bet on Meta was this was Q4. In Q1, they're going to announce their earnings from the ads that they generate from all the fuckers on Shopify that are out here blasting ads. So their revenue is going to be super profitable. So that's why we buy. We bought accurate. Robinhood thesis was, hey, last bull run, the thesis for Robinhood is they were a really big user for mobile. My thesis for this bull run is they're going to be more lenient and incorporate more things. Here we see Robinhood launching meme coins, went from $11 to 36. MicroStrategy, obvious one. Microsoft, the only bid for Microsoft was the only investment into OpenAI was through Microsoft because Microsoft did a $10 billion investment. So as a proxy, the only way to invest into ChatGPT and OpenAI was through Microsoft. So we talked to Microsoft. Walmart, we talked about Walmart. Walmart is your hedge against inflation. It's your hedge against any sort of turmoil or war. People always buy in Walmart. PayPal, we've been talking about PayPal. That's a big one. Started talking about it $60, $70. It's a little bit up. And then obviously IBIT, all the Bitcoin ETF stuff. Crypto, Solana, Jupiter, Avalanche. Those are, I think, the three kind of heavy hitters. I don't talk a lot about Avalanche. I talk really heavy about Jupiter and really heavy about Solana. They're the best. I love working and operating with these people. Injective, I think, has a really strong kind of narrative, but I'll be frank, the reason I'm really buying in is because of Wizard. Crypto Wizard is out here shilling INJ every single day. I got a bag, bro. Core, number one, I think they have the highest TVL on Bitcoin. Then we have Wolf. This was the one that I fucked up on. I called Wolf. Remember when we talked about that was the whole Matt Fury narrative?
Okay.
That was like all the coins. So I called Brett, right? We called Brett, we called Pepe, but I thought that Wolf was going to be on Solana, and I thought that what was the other one? Andy was going to be on Binance, on Binance, but they all ended up being on the same chain. So if you actually see all the top ones, I think they end up with if I'm shilling it, sorry guys, OX67. I think they all finished with those like
yeah.
contract address, but they all ended up winning on the same chain. So I fucked up on that one. Wrong chain with the token. BitTensor, obviously, Fetch AI, pretty good. GPU, low on revenue when it comes to their GPUs, still getting pushed by some of the biggest people in all of Twitter. So my marketing is on them. We had one that ended up being a rug, and I made no money on it. One called OPSEC. Do you remember OPSEC? That was one that
maybe.
There was one that it was a rug that went to zero. Fucked me. I think I lost 80 grand on that. Then we have Ethereum. Ethereum's a piece of shit. We have the Graph. That's a one from last bull run. We have TON. I've been super bullish on TON. I've been talking about TON since last.
You've been talking about TON for a while, actually.
A while, bro.
Yeah.
A while. So you're talking. We're looking at 400, 500% returns on TON. Next. The issue with TON right now, and I expressed this with the TON team, and they were like, hey, like, you know, the reality is these people have thought about the patching ahead of time, was the entire like point of failure on Pavel, right? And if your point of failure is
what do you
Pavel,
think
like,
about that, by the way? Do you have like a meta take on what happened?
So I have a take on it. So one is, I think he's too smart to create a single point of failure himself, right? That's my honest reality. Two is, if you're only web-based, like if you're web-based, you operate on a different set of rules that if you're like on the App Store. If you're on the App Store, there's certain things that you have to abide by. So they could take the Telegram app off of the App Store at any moment if they think that it's a threat. So Pavel has to comply in some way, shape, or form. However, I think the TON blockchain has a big use case for adoption, number one. And then two, I think if they can really tap into what I think is their biggest strength, which is remittance, kind of like Tron had, which is the ability to send money to users through usernames on Telegram. I think that's one of the biggest use cases of remittance for Telegram. Imagine now, whatever, let's say your username is @threadguy. Let's say I can just go ahead and send you $1 million in USDT to your Telegram username. So that I think is one of the biggest use cases for basically free. So remittance is a big one. That's my big on my play on Telegram. I want to talk about maybe some of our meme coin plays, the ones that I'm currently invested in. the ones that I think are going to do really well, the ones that I think aren't going to perform. And then I also want to tap into what I think are going to be the meme coin narratives. But I want to talk about the other ones that I've talked about. MPC, I think that's going to be a really top meme. We see plenty of people shilling it. Pretty pretty decentralized. I see Litecoin. Litecoin hasn't been mentioned as is.
That's a
They say
sneaky one. Litecoin from the rafters.
So let me tell you why. Are you ready?
Yeah, bring it. Let's go.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's talked about. I think they get an ETF.
Whoa.
I think it gets an ETF.
Litecoin ETF before Solana or no?
I don't know before Solana, and the reason I'll tell you why is because it's a fork of Bitcoin. So therefore,
Early too, right? Like 2013 shit.
well, it's in the same asset class as Bitcoin if you think about it, because it's just a fork of Bitcoin. So they didn't have a pre-sale, they didn't have all this this baggage on top of them. Could be interesting. It's a shit coin, but once again, like, it doesn't really make a difference at this point in the market. You have to kind of run the narratives. I have Mantle, it's pretty good. Doge, I've been in Doge. I think my big plays for meme coins is Doge, Brett, and Pepe. I think Brett gets to the thing that I like that you talked about base chain.
You
I
like
that you
base a
talked
lot,
about
right?
base.
I know you're a base fan.
It's not just the fact that I like it. One is they're one of the best capitalized teams in the world.
For sure.
Two is we're entering Trump administration. Coinbase is they're about to be super OP, right? Like, they're about to be super OP. And I think right now there's something taking place in Europe known as MiCA, MICA, and it's the SEC of Europe, right? So why do you see Bybit? Why do you see Coinbase? Why do you see all the top exchanges, Binance in the world, building DEXs? Because MiCA, MICA, this new agency, is going to be the SEC of Europe. So unless you're MiCA compliant, you're not going to be able to operate in Europe and offer services to European customers. That's why I think Hyperliquid has a real use case to take Binance's launch, Coinbase's launch, because all these people are going to have to start taking off users. This is MiCA. This is applying January 1st. I talked to all the people from exchanges, bro. Like, I'm telling you, this is coming January 1st. You're going to start seeing it, right? Futures getting taken off, margins being taken off. It's going to become really interesting. People are going to move to what? DEXs, DeFi. So you see all these big companies hedging with building a DEX because they know that their centralized exchange could be at risk. MiCA applying January 1st. What was the alibi? What was the kind of the legal loophole that companies were using? Well, before MiCA, you know how you have like the European Union? Before MiCA, every country had their own jurisdiction regarding crypto. So there wasn't kind of this encompassing EU kind of law. Now there's this encompassing EU law. So it doesn't matter which country in the European Union you're trying to like famous, kind of like make your way, get a bank account, all this stuff, you're still under MiCA law. So I think Asia picks up really hardcore. I think Dubai picks up really hardcore. I think DEXs and decentralized finance pick up really hardcore. And I think that centralized exchanges are going to start building their own chains because they're realizing that they can't be operating in the centralized ecosystem. So Brett, I think, is the flagship poster boy of the ecosystem.
Unfortunately.
Until fortunately or unfortunately, the point is, I'm just riding the trend, right? Like, I'm not trying to be biased here. I'm trying to, like, we're all trying to make money. We're all trying to take the right trades. We're all risking trade. Like, we're buying meme coins, bro. Like, if anybody tells me shit all about, you're buying meme coins, bro. I'm buying meme coins. I bought $800,000 with a fucking chill guy. Somebody could have nuked $1 million and the LP would have been gone and I would have been down to zero. So don't come to me with this whole degeneracy when we're all out here in the trenches doing the same thing. So Brett, my assumption is Base doesn't launch their own coin and Brett becomes the first to go to, at least this bull run. So my bet is on that one. Pepe, I think the narrative is Doge flippening. I think Doge is $100 billion. And obviously now it's in mindshare because of Elon. Go back and study all of Elon's tweets regarding Dogecoin. I think might be one of the biggest Dogecoin holders in the world. And I think because he's a super genius, I think he spotted the meme coin trend last bull run.
Yeah.
And I think he just positioned himself with Doge as a really safe meme to kind of push, but I think he has a fucking huge bag. Maybe that's just me, but if you go and look at his tweets, he's out here helping the devs, donating money. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they named the fucking government department after Doge as well.
It's a meme coin, bro. It's a meme coin. Then I have KCS, KuCoin. I have a couple exchange. I got Mog listed there. I got Bonk. I think Bonk is cheap.
Bonk is good. Bonk is sneaky. I like Bonk.
I think it's good. They generate revenue. They got a real product. I like Mog. You know, the entire kind of like LA ecosystem and everything's just pushing the views. So shout out. Hopefully you guys crush it there, and obviously Pengu, because they've really been able to figure out this entire narrative from top to bottom. Now let's talk about meme coins. I made a thread on my meme coin plays for Q4. Let me pull it up. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, man.
Let's talk about it. What's your thesis on meme coin 2025?
Mr. Belmar, I did all the large holdings of Mog. I traded a bunch of the coins. I was holding Retardio for a while. I was holding a lot of these meme coins. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. For the last, I want to say 2 months, since late October, have been unable to focus on anything in crypto that isn't AI. Like, I'm not gonna give you the full shill, but from the moment that I saw Truth Terminal and Goatsius Maximus, ticker GOAT, it has been difficult for me to imagine a narrative that is bigger than this. So I still think that traditional meme coins are still going to be massive. I think you have good bags, by the way. I like the Brett play, like the Pepe play. It makes sense. It's going to be massive. I have stupid bags of Mog. The reason I think the AI narrative is massive is for 2 reasons. Is one, there's this term that was coined from my homie Taiki, and he calls it the AI Omega cycle, which is basically the combination of this massive macro bull market, sort of led by NVIDIA and the GPU craze, like carrying the macro market, all AI focused, right? The GPUs, NVIDIA, combined with this crypto turbo bull run with Bitcoin ripping past 100K and now sort of incorporating crypto AI. The intersection of the two, AI, bull, they're calling it the AI Omega cycle, right? It's kind of a meme, it's kind of a joke, but if you break it down a little bit, I think that the AI in crypto, it's the biggest potential narrative that I think we've ever seen. From a meme coin perspective, the idea you could get behind is that these AIs are more interesting, more relevant, evolve quicker, build communities quicker. They're better at the internet than humans, right? They're better bull posters than any human could ever be. They're better content creators than any human could ever be. And the growth of acceleration and change is like unlike anything we've ever seen. So I think,
interesting,
when you think about it like this, is last cycle, part of the reason NFTs went so crazy is because everybody understood owning things digitally on the internet. Anyone that's ever played a video game understands the Fortnite skin narrative, right? So it was very easy to sensationalize in your head, wow, how crazy can this get? How big can it go? How high can Bored Apes go if they actually build the metaverse? You could fantasize over it. Now take crypto AI and think about how massive OpenAI and ChatGPT is and how powerful these tools are, like Sona and like Opus. And you can sort of, the tech is okay, but the fantasy you can build up in your head of how big can this get in AI crypto, I think is like a behemoth that we have never seen before. I wasn't here for DeFi Summer. I wasn't here for 2017, 2018, but it is hard to unsee Truth Terminal. It's hard to have your 0 to 1 ChatGPT moment and like forget it. You can't forget it.
So I agree. And this is why I agree. AI can't get tired. That's it. Like that's my entire thesis. If we're talking about community building, the most difficult part of community building is the community. And I know that sounds hard, but to be honest, to everybody listening and everybody in crypto that's on the community, you guys make it really fucking hard for founders. Like you make it really fucking hard. Like you make it hard to build, you make it hard to like grow because it's intense. AI doesn't feel these emotional pressures. AI doesn't give a fuck. Like it's operating under a specific set of rules and premise. And I think that you're right on the community building side of stuff. I think it's all about probabilities and it's all about data. So if it knows that it's getting engagement or likes or the path of its objective is a certain narrative, then it's going to push that narrative. And I think the community building aspect needs to can dwindle and make a founder demoralized when the price is low. AI doesn't give a fuck, right? Like it'll still show up the next day. And if it's a cult following, I don't know. Did you see? I posted a tweet about AI agents actually the other day.
See, I can pin it. Let me find it.
2 days ago. It says
Let's see.
AI agents will have a profound impact on crypto, December 14th. I will be diving deep into this meta and finding those winning agents with cult followings.
Banger.
Key is cult following.
Banger.
Because the followers need to be obsessed with the AI agent. Like they need to see it as daddy, right? It needs to be kind of like the pacifier to the crying baby. They need to come back and they just want to have fun. So I think the ones that find those followings, and I saw it with Goat CS Max. I haven't bought it, but I see some of the tweets and bro, that shit's so crazy.
It's the best. It's the best.
It's the best. It's over the top and it's hilarious. And I think having legacy is important. Having the narrative is important. Being a first runner is important, and also it has brand recognition and it has mind share. So I've been seeing you shill it, bro. I've been seeing you shill it.
Hey, I'll tell you this. The second best time to buy Goatius Maximus was yesterday. The best time is today. But all right, here's a framework question for you. Is AI crypto shit is new, the same way that NFTs were new last cycle, the same way that DeFi was new. What is your framework and like mental model for how you approach an emerging sector, something that's so new where there's no targets, there's no history to base it off of? Like, how do you come into a new sort of vertical like this and figure out what to buy, how to play it, how to approach it?
I would say the first thing that you need to do is, it depends. I have a different opinion regarding like low caps and high caps than a lot of people do. I genuinely believe the opportunities in low caps. I wish I could be shilling $5 million market cap, $3 million market cap coins, but I can't. Things that I know are going to do well, or things that I want to position myself early. I would say if somebody wants to rotate into AI, or into the kind of this narrative, is I'd be looking for undervalued bags, like chasing these big AI agents. I understand it. There's going to be one or two outliers that become like household names, but they're still meme coins, right? Like at a fundamental level, you have this AI structure to it. Maybe the one that Anderson Horowitz rolled out has a little bit different use case. Who knows? But I don't know, man. I would say just it's the trenches are so hard to tell people that that's where you should be, but that's where the money is. But that's also where you get fucked. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on AI? You're more versed into it. You're more on the day to day. I've been on the AI side. The big thing that I've been trying to I talked to two guys when I went to Dubai. I went to Dubai and Singapore, and there's this big narrative around like GPUs and like cloud storage. So I thought, okay, this is bullish. This is cool. I get it. I get the meta. I buy a ton of shit. I buy a ton of stuff. Start talking about it. Then I'm like, hey, I got pretty big bags. Let's see if I can get a hold of these teams. As most teams I can't get a hold of. 2 or 3 teams I get a hold of that thankfully I didn't invest in. And for the first time, it just crossed my mind. I was going to ask them, what are your GPU revenues? Like, are you selling any of these GPUs, or are you just saying like, hey, this is the business model, which is the premise as to how I bought everything else was like, hey, like this is a good idea. And they're like, oh, we're making like $6,000 a month in GPUs. Oh, well, what's your market cap? With 40 million. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, but at a market cap of 40 mil is low. You know what I mean? Like, it's a low market cap, but there is no real revenue attached to it. So that's my bullishness on AI is on trend. It's on mindshare. It's on the fact that people are going to be talking about AI, not on the company itself or on the revenues of the company itself. If you're going to operate off as if it was like in the EBITDA of an e-commerce business or the multiples or the returns, you're not going to get it. The second thing I'd be aware of, very, very cautious. This is something that fucked me really hard. So anybody trying to get into like either these mid caps, low caps, or even high caps that have just spiked, is you need to look at the daily volume. The daily volume versus sometimes the movement or the market cap doesn't make sense, right? Like you'll have a token that has a 250, $300 million market cap with $2 or $3 million in daily volume. It's not that it's not whatever. It's just, it's very hard to get out of that thing, right? So I fell into that trap. I did it, right? I buy into these coins, 100 mil market cap with $1 million in volume, $1.5 million in LP, get wrecked, right? So I would say on the buying on the low side, but obviously there's more trench risk there. What are your thoughts, bro?
I think you have some pretty good takes. I think the AI thing is tough because I honestly think we're in the first inning of it. So I try to position myself in buy what I think the winner or the biggest is going to be, which is GOAT, and then spend the rest of my time just trying to learn. So I basically just been bringing on fucking AI founders day after day after day to figure out who cares about what, who's building what are the narratives that are sticky, what's going to be here for the long term, what isn't, and try to play it like that. So I've kind of been telling people to buy the leader so you have exposure, a long-term exposure, and then just like lock the fuck in over the next 6 months on reading, on listening to interviews, on notifications on for the founders, and figuring out who's doing what and what's gonna stick. Because I think the thing that's tough about AI is the same thing that's tough about regular meme coins is it's an attention game. And attention is zero sum, and attention is very fleeting, especially in crypto. The thing that's hot,
Yeah.
Chill Guy was the biggest thing in the fucking world 2 weeks ago. Well, I haven't
Fucking
seen it on my
crazy.
timeline today, you know? We wouldn't have talked about it if you didn't bring it up. So it's like attention is a really tough game to play, and then especially when there's like you remember this with NFTs, it was fully attention and was the hottest thing in the world. So every day, basically it felt like every day there was the new hot artist mint, the new hot mint, the new 10K, the new metaverse play, and there's play after play after play after play after play. There's always a new shiny thing, but there was a couple underbelly projects that had lit teams that were doing real things of substance that outperformed every. You could have bought every hyped mint, but you bought Bored Apes, you bought Punks, you bought Azuki and Pudgy Penguins. You outperformed the entire market by hundreds of multiples, even if you bought them late. Like even if you bought Bored Apes at 10 ETH, you still outperformed everybody by many, many, many hundreds of percent. Same with Pudgy, same with Azukis. So that's kind of, now that I have a little bit of size to play with, how I'm thinking about this AI stuff a little bit. But I'm curious back to you, is how has your focus shifted maybe from it like more crypto reliant over the last 6 months, over the last year as the market is like picked back up? Like do you like shift from going super hard into crypto to kind of tapped out to super hard back into it? Like how do you shift focus based on the market?
Of course. Why would I be here in the why am I going to be on Twitter during the bear market?
Because we hate ourselves, bro.
No, what I'm going to do is the same thing that I do every single bull run, which is I go and make more money so that I can go and invest in more companies and go and get more pre-sales and go and get into more deals. Dude, look at most L1s today popping out, most L2s. There's a chance I got a check in there, right? Because you buy into these deals during the bear market, but you have to have liquidity. So during bear markets, this is what I tell people. During bull markets, I told everybody last October, guys, get into crypto, guys, get into crypto, guys, get into crypto, guys, get into crypto. The ecom guys, no, I'm not saying you got to get in full time, but like, hey, like maybe if Michael Saylor is putting billions of dollars of his company balance on Bitcoin, maybe you put 10% of your e-commerce balance on Bitcoin. You know what I mean? These are the conversations. It's not full on, yo, go fucking start a pump. That's not the conversation, because that's not like the average person. Yeah. So the transition is very simple and it's very straightforward. And I recommend people understand patterns and ebbs and flow. There's this idea that you're supposed to be married to the industry or married to market. No, you're supposed to go where the attention is. As creators, we go where attention is. So right now the attention is where in crypto, but I'm not new here. I've been here for 8 years. I just know when to come in and when to leave. So why am I going to be talking about crypto when Bitcoin is at $16,000 and for the next 8 months, altcoins are going to be bleeding? And I know that Meta, and I know that PayPal, and I know that Robinhood stock, and I know that Nvidia, and I know that these are better opportunities. And what I've come to realize, and somebody tweeted about it, about like an investment, which I had made, but they assumed that I didn't. And the question was like, oh, well, why didn't you invest in the specific project, or which I had? And my premise was, If you do what retail does, you're going to get the same results that retail gets. So I had to develop a very simple thesis. People are like, oh, wow, this guy just said the obvious thing. But here's the truth. Do you understand where you stand in this crypto cycle? Like, I'm very candid with myself. I'm not going to say I'm at the MITs with the white papers, right? You're not there, but there's guys that are there. There you have the companies and the funds and the private equity and the family offices that cut the checks and the scholarships to the nerds in MIT that create all these blockchains and all these hash thing, all this crazy stuff. But that's high risk. Then you have the Andreessen Horowitz, right? The guys that identify founders early, the Pantera Capitals. From there, you go into the builders slash the big influencers. So you'll see the likes of Becker, who just joined us on Pudgy. I saw him. I saw you just joined us there. I wasn't aware. That's pretty cool. You have kind of like your main social celebrities, you know, like the founders of Solana, your Meow, you people that are kind of like in the space, but they're on the bigger side. They're influencing what? Not necessarily retail first, but the crypto space. So they're talking to the crypto space. That's the next phase. The next phase is rich retail, and then the next phase is retail. If you're investing and the information that you're getting is the one that's being fed to retail, then you're going to be the last one. I don't talk to retail. I talk to rich retail, which is people that are building e-commerce businesses. And then I talk to the person that's a normie in crypto that understands the space. The moment the gas guy starts talking about, we know the story, the taxi driver, whatever, it's gone. And I think that this year they begin talking about these things because it's faster and faster. These cycles are going to be faster and faster because the booms and the busts are going to be quicker because social media has the ability to inject a lot of fuel. I mean, if you would have told me that, I don't know, Popcat goes from $2.1 billion to 1.1 in a 40% retrace, and everybody's like, that's disgusting. But in a normal market, anybody that's holding meme coins knows that that's a normal thing. So you have to really be able to play your hands right. And I would say at this point in the cycle, I'm looking for my exit signs. I'm not saying I'm out of the market. I'm looking for the smoke, right? That's saying, hey, you know, like the bags are going to start getting cleared out. Last bull run, I placed a short on Luna. I was one of the few people that publicly placed a short.
I heard you talk about this a little bit in the Miles pod. Talk to me about this.
It was posted on Instagram because I had gotten last bull run, my Twitter got banned because I called Joe Biden a communist. So I had to go through.
Did you really get banned?
What?
You got banned?
Yeah, I got banned.
No way.
What did you say?
You got banned on Twitter?
Yeah, last bull run, I said Joe Biden is a communist. I got banned. What's the website? BBB? So you know the Better Business Bureau?
Okay, yeah.
So I filed a complaint to Twitter on the Better Business Bureau, and they got back to me and they responded. I got my Twitter account back. Yesterday I went to go look for the thing, the Better Business Bureau review for Twitter or X, and it was wiped out. Elon, imagine having the power where you can literally go and delete all one-star reviews. There was nothing there. So I got my account back, but for the time being, I was talking about things on Instagram. I was talking about things on Clubhouse because I didn't really have, I had an alternative. I had a profile called Asset Bender. I no longer have access to it, unfortunately, but I was talking and tweeting on that one. So people that were following me back then, they were following me on that platform, but then I got the account back. And when I got the account back, what was pivotal for me was understanding two things. One is, what is my role in crypto based off of who I am? And then the second thing is, where is this platform going to go, and is it going to be worth me building on it? So the moment that Elon, he made one tweet, and you've probably seen it, where he says the most amusing outcome is the most likely one, or the most funny outcome is the most likely one. And he posted that, hey, how much is buying Twitter? So I started buying usernames on Twitter. You can go to @altcoin, the username. I own it, right? You can go to several. I can't give you a ton of them, but I went and bought it. So I go there, I buy these usernames, and I start betting on Elon. So when you talk about investing, it's not just about crypto. It's about the space in general, right? So I've invested into companies that are VPN providers. I've invested into usernames. I've invested into all these different things. By the way, me and Watcher Guru are going to launch an altcoin news channel on
Really?
altcoin, the account. Yeah. So we're cooking a little something there.
Watch Your Guru is sick.
He's a G, bro. Like, he's on top of it. He's on top of it. And it's really good, right? Like, I want to be able to build free tools in crypto. I That's one of my passions, is I want to build a competitor to CoinMarketCap, free of use.
Whoa.
And then yeah, a tracker that's better than theirs, so free of use. I've already made money in crypto, thankfully. So I want to build two things. The first tool is this crypto tracker, and then the second thing is some sort of place where people can get their news really quick. So coming soon, be on the pipeline for that. And I'm working on a DAO.
Really?
I'm working on a DAO.
Why?
So here's my
Why?
thesis on a DAO. So okay, so two things. One is I need a place to gather my community, right? So like, I get a lot of deal flow and investment opportunities that I can't necessarily take, right? So if I can create a free DAO where I can literally just have people from my community be part of it, and I can offset deal flow that I maybe is extra or that I may not want that somebody else may want, is going to be important. So I've been looking at the idea of DAOs, but not like voting decision when it comes to like chains and things like that. I want it to have some sort of real use case, you know? So part of me for Capital Club is I'm building physical locations, biohacking centers and things like that. So like voting rights and things like, where do we place a biohacking center? Where do you build a cigar lounge and things like that? I know it sounds crazy. It's not very crypto
Hey, do you know
related,
what Echo is? Echo from Kobe. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw it.
It's like, it's kind of, I think it's kind of what you're explaining a little bit, like a way to sort of democratize deal flow, where you could set up like an Echo group. You could have like the Luke Belmore Capital Club. You could have 1,000 people, 10,000 people in there, whatever. And you can like bring deal flow in and share it amongst the members of your group.
So this one's a really good one. This is a good platform. There's another platform called, I think it's called Presale. Is it called Presale?
Presale.
Like sale, like SAIL. Presale. And it's another platform, I think, like the one that Kobe's making, that gives you access to kind of like bundle deal flow together in a DeFi thing. Anyways, so yeah, I want to build some free tools. I think right now the space kind of has the tech that it needs. I don't think it needs any more L1s. I don't think it needs more NFTs. I don't think it needs any of these things. I think there's a lot of free things that I want to build just out of passion product and passion projects. And yeah, so the tokenization that can live in its own world, NFTs can live in its own world, but I think that there's a true market fit to still tap into normies. You know, I think Moonshot did a really good job.
Moonshot is the only good investment I've ever made, bro. It's the best.
You invested in
It's the best platform ever.
You know. So Noah calls me, and he gives me a deal, same deal that probably everybody got. And yeah, and long story short, I told him no. And the reason I told him no was because I'm an idiot. So there's no other reason.
I'll tell you why I told him yes.
Tell me what Luca told me about it. Did Luca tell you about it?
Of course he did. No, he didn't, but of course he did. Luca's the best. This is why I told Moonshot yes. Is I had a homie 5 months ago coming to me, not crypto, but he's around, and he said, "Yo, Thread, I want to buy Mog. How do I do it?" And I said, okay, go on your phone, download MetaMask, write the seed phrase down. If anyone ever finds this, I'll take all your money. Go make a Coinbase account, buy ETH, copy your MetaMask wallet, send the ETH to it, open Dex Screener, gotta open Udis. I gave him like a 12-step, and he's like, I'm gonna be honest, dude, I don't really want to do that. Like, forget it. We'll do it later. I'm like, all right, we'll do it later. I went to bed. I woke up the next day, and I remembered that Noah had sent me the test flight from Moonshot. I wasn't gonna invest. And I was like, oh, you know what? Let me hand this to him. You can only buy Soul coins, but I handed my phone, and I was like, there's $10 in here, Apple Pay. Play around with this for a minute. And he comes back to me, and he's like, dude, I just bought Giga. I just bought PopCat. I just bought so-and-so. This is the best. I'm like, okay, cool. I called Noah, and I was like, I'm in. I'm 100% in investing. This is going to be in the App Store? Yeah, App Store. All right, cool, I'm in. And these are the rails that regular people need, because the regular non-moonshot, non-slingshot's another one process is like, it's like 15, when you actually spell it out to a non-crypto person, it's like 15 fucking steps to buy Mog.
It's too much, bro. It's too fucking hard, bro. It's too hard. Like, that's why that's what I'm telling you, these mobile path of least resistance is the reason why these tokens are absolutely ripping, dude. Like, people can literally Apple Pay and buy a meme coin. Shit's about to go crazy, dude.
All right, I got like 2 more questions for you, and I'll let you go. It's gonna be 90 minutes pretty soon. I got like 2 more. My homie wants to ask one. All right, this is like meta more broadly for you, Mr. Belmar, crypto, non-crypto, however you want to answer it. But what is your edge? Like, what is Luke Belmar's edge in life?
Influence. Sell dollars, buy influence. That's my big piece of advice for content creators. I haven't made a vlog in about 14 months. I I don't necessarily know if I'm going to be creating more content or coming back, but sell dollars and buy influence. And what that means is whether you're a project, whether you're an influencer, whether you're a content creator, whether you're a business, is you need to understand that influence is a game of awareness, and your business is only going to succeed in proportion to your ability to capture eyes. You looking at a dollar and finding your worth or your comfort and security in that dollar isn't good, right? Because that dollar doesn't represent anything except the ability to transact. So when you look at the dollars as your ability to transact, you want to sell them for the highest possible asset class that you can get in return. And today, attention is one of the highest assets that we can acquire. So sell fiat, acquire attention. If you're a project, go get marketing. If you are an e-commerce business, learn Facebook ads. If you are a content creator, learn short form, learn long form, do live stream, do collaborations, kind of mesh together. So my advantage is I am okay spending money in order to build long-term enterprise value. And if you spend money upfront in order to build long-term enterprise value, regardless of the darts and the bullets and the punches that people throw at you, when it's all said and done, the enterprise value and the value you've created in the space will kind of reflect itself. So sell dollars, buy influence.
That was a banger. I got my homie OG here. He wants to ask a question too, so I brought him in.
What is good? All right, so like you've obviously made a lot of crypto investments in your life so far, right? And maybe just a few. So I got a question, and I think it's like a banger one for you. What's your ideal crypto angel check? Like, are you looking for a certain time in the market, a certain vesting cliff? Like, describe it, you know?
I'm going to give you my deal flow versus in why mine is a little bit sweeter than the average person, and then what you should do on the average case. So if you're like an average like angel, first of all, especially in crypto, in the bear market it's different, but in the bull market you have to be able to offer something more than a check, right? Like the check isn't enough. Everybody's got bread. Like I'm rich. Everybody, there's so many rich people, bro, right now. Like let's not get it mistaken. So projects know it ain't the money. In a bear market situation, they're hungry. They need to check. Bull market, they need something else. So what can you offer to them that money can't buy, or that is really expensive for them to buy? So for example, Thread, right? Thread going and putting together a bundle of influencers, Web2 influencers, right? To talk about something, right? Or to hold a plushie or anything, right? His cost is going to be significantly reduced versus the cost of, let's say you go to like a Web3 marketing agency that has all these people. So what is your kind of edge or advantage there? Is that you can go to a project and be like, well, I'm not going to cut you a check necessarily, but the values that I have access to a network, I can connect you to X, Y, and Z. You need to be able to find what is the edge that you can give to the project. To me, it's influence, right? Like I can talk about something, 1,000 people show up, like I put out a tweet, 100,000 people read it, 1 million people read it. I get 100 million views a month, right? So like I understand that the edge that I give people is eyeballs, but not everybody can give eyeballs, and that's okay. So you need to ask, what can I give that isn't money? Devs is a big thing. Community building is a big thing. The amount of projects that are just starving for good community management, good community moderation, social media management. Dude, all these kids, and Thread can probably validate this one. All these kids that were making like money in Web2, like running an agency, like flipping Discord, like sneakers on a Discord, flipping usernames, their marketing skills, the multiplier that these kids can make in crypto, offering the same exact service, is like 3 to 4 to 5x. And if you want to cut a check, and you want kind of a better term, you come in with value and you're like, hey, I can offer this plus money and I can get a better deal. What do you think, Thread? What do you think about the multiplier of like this skill set that the marketers have, the skill set of like attention awareness?
It's gross because the talent pool is even still, the amount of people that have a legit skill and understand crypto, the crossover is so thin. So who you're competing with in crypto versus like the mainstream Web 2 internet e-com world where you come from, it's like the bubble is so much smaller. So if you have both and understand crypto, the multiplier is just, bro, it's disgusting. You're 3, 4, 5x. It's disgusting. You're right. Exactly right.
So I would take that value, because it's a multiplier, and inject it into your deal flow. So it doesn't matter if you're a small guy or a big guy, that can take place. And then if you want to get best deal flow possible, number one, bear market, you have to be cash intensive. If you're worth 8 figures right now, if you're worth 7 figures, if you got a couple mil, say a couple 100,000, understand that the next bull run, people are like, oh, there's no next bull run. Bro, come on. We're in fucking crypto, bro. Like, there's always something. There's always the next thing. Like, we know it. That's why we're here. We're not married to a trend. We're not married to a bag. We're just playing the flow, and we know this. So when the next thing rolls around, you take your 100K and you turn it into a mil. You take your million, you turn it to 5. Don't be so motherfucking greedy at this stage in the bull where you want that extra 40%. You want that extra 50% that you're willing to compromise your bag over the long term. Last bull run, I did 8 figures, right? This bull run, I want to get to 9 figures. So slowly this multiplying effect. And it's really amazing because anybody can do it. All you need is a mobile device and access to the internet, and anybody can become an investor. And I think that's why Wall Street is shitting their pants, because they're realizing, oh fuck, the game that we were playing, how we were getting rich, now people like Thread, who should be at a fucking McDonald's, like flipping wings, and Luke Belmar should be at a fucking Buffalo Wild Wings flipping wings. You know what I mean? Like that, like, come on. That's what these motherfuckers think. These guys now have access to like 100x's, like 100x gainers. Like that's a glitch in the matrix. Like, get the fuck out of here. So take advantage of it. Understand that technology has allowed us to compete with the best of the best. Wall Street can't come into this business. We'll fuck them, bro. We'll fuck them left, right, and center, bro. Do you understand the amount of times that these people are going to have to understand the game to understand how the trends work? We have such an advantage. So take advantage of the opportunity while it exists. Make money. Don't over leverage. If not, don't touch leverage at all. Under low cap meme coins is the key. And if you want to invest, don't invest into projects and seed rounds during the bull market. Wait till the bear market. Save your coin, save your dry powder. Go all in on a few high conviction plays, and you'll be sitting across like me, getting tweets of disdain and hate.
Hey, that stream was nuts. Also, now I gotta say, this chat is on your ass for drinking out of a plastic water bottle.
Hey, coconut water, my friend.
All right, we got one more celeb question. We got Raspberry here, my other roommate. One more celeb that I'll ask you.
I think I follow you on X too, bro. Do I follow you on X?
I don't think so, but like, you should really, make that happen.
What's the username?
No.
RASMR.
Yeah. Anyways, dude. Proverbs 23:20. That convinced me to buy Bitcoin. Buy the
23:23. My bad.
23:23. Buy the truth and never sell it. Okay,
Epic, no. Right?
Yeah, that's a banger quote. My question is, do you think we should be a net seller right now? Because my port is up like 70, 80x as of like a year ago. Should I be like a net seller?
So a few things. It depends on what you have, bro, and it depends on the size of your bag. Like, if you're looking at your bag and you're like, yo, like I'm living in Mykonos, and I'm living in Ibiza for the next 30 years. Like, I've done my net worth calculations. Come on. Yeah. I've done my net worth calculations, what I spend a year versus how much my life. If you got enough to go, bro, you got enough to go. Like, you don't have to be risking things that are unnecessary, right? So you need to gauge your lifestyle. If your lifestyle is going to multiply 3, 4, 5 times, if your net worth multiplies, then okay, maybe. If your quality of life isn't going to improve with an extra 2, 3x, just play safer gains, bro. Play safer gains. We guys, remember FTX, bro? That shit was overnight, bro. It was overnight. I don't want that again. I'm not doing it. Like, I'll risk losing 30% upside so I don't nuke 50% down. So, hey, but we're degens at the end of the day, so who knows who will even take our own advice.
Banger.
Thanks for letting me on, Thread Guy.
Of course, dude.
Yo, in Miami, wait, is that where you are? Miami?
No, I'm in Puerto Rico. once again, you position yourself ahead of the bull run to not pay taxes. You see, and maybe it's not luck. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not luck. Maybe it's just probabilities. Yeah, hit me up if you're in Miami. Let's link up. We'll do some content, bro.
Cool. All right. Nice meeting you. Bye.
You go, bro. All right, Mr. Belmar.
Hey, bro, this is fun. You're a great host.
Thanks, dude. You make it easy. You make it easy. Here's my final sign-off question for you, Mr. Luke. I need you, Luke Belmar, to give the chat and the entire world some motivation on how to make it in crypto this cycle and how to make it generally in life.
You know, it's interesting. The thing about motivation, and people hate on motivation, and they hate on mindset, and they hate on success or the idea of preaching to people that they can become the best version of themselves. But the thing is, had somebody not come to me in my time of poverty or in my time of not knowing what I could achieve or become and encouraged me like, hey, yeah, you can actually go out and do it. Like, you know what? Like, even though everybody's shitting on you, you can do it. Even if you don't believe it, you can do it. For all the people that think that that's cringe, deal with it. But here's the reality of the message, right? Here's the reality of the message. If you want to succeed in life, you have to be willing to become the person before you are the person. You have to be able to sit down and say, I'm going to study. I'm going to become dedicated. I'm going to become a disciple of discipline is what I like to call them. A person that sits down and says, hey, I have a goal and I'm not going to do anything until I achieve this goal. And I've never seen a person say that they were going to set out to do something, whether it was make $1 million, whether it was retire their mom, and never do it unless they sabotage themselves. So the motivation is simple. Motive. There needs to be an action towards a motive. So the question is, what is your motive? If your motive is just getting rich, well, it's shallow. Because once you get rich, then there's no motivation. So the motivation needs to be deeper. The motivation needs to be development of self. The motivation needs to be the pursuit of truth. The motivation needs to be helping other people. The motivation needs to be leveling up. Are we perfect? Far from it. And sometimes don't look at the messenger. The messenger has flaws. The messenger has imperfections. The messenger is just like you. Look at the message for what the message is and ask yourself, does the message hold truth? You may not like the delivery. I get it. You may not like the guy. I get it. But is what he's saying, does he have a point? Does he have a point that if you believe that you can, that you can? If you actually sit down and study, that you can become more intelligent. That if you actually go to the gym, you can become shredded. That if you actually become a husband, you can find a wife. That if you become a wife, you can find a husband. That if you become a good man, you can have a family. That if you can achieve the business that you want, it all starts here. And if anybody that tells me it doesn't start here, then they haven't spent enough time understanding the power of the mind. So let that be motivation. Have a phenomenal bull run. Continue crushing it. And hopefully we can do this again sometime soon.
Woo! Luke fucking Belmar, ladies and gentlemen, that was a banger, bro. W speech, W motivation, W stream. Thanks for the interview. Thanks for coming on. You're a G, dude. I thoroughly enjoyed this, honestly. I would tell you if I didn't, and I did.
Thank you for the time. You're a great host. I look forward to continue watching the show, my friend.
Thank you. Is there anything you want to show before you leave? Anything you want to drop? Any links? Any platforms? Any content? Anything you want to show before you leave? Murad next week.
Murad next week, and maybe a part 2 at some point when the next meme coin list comes out.
Part 2.
Nothing to show, my friend.
He's held to it. Part 2 for the next meme coin list. Luke Belmar, you're a G, bro. I appreciate you. Much love, dude. Talk soon.
Thank you.